Hi there, you are at the Uniswap Wyckoff analysis session, and today we'll continue to look at both the weekly and daily time frame and see whether Uniswap is heading towards the high level price of buying Climax that's going to challenge somewhere maybe even as high as $14. So let's see whether that's the case. Here, in the weekly chart, last time I put into the title, have we entered the PSY period? When looking at what happened, it seems like, indeed, it looks like it has entered a preliminary supply period. And last week and this week, we see a little bit of retracement or like struggle below this resistance line of $11.20. So I've added in these rainbow colors of resistance and support levels, so it will be easier for us in future when we go through these charts. As of this moment, it has found a little support at this level. This is not a key level, but we can see from these candlesticks in the middle, there is a bit of support around this $9.80 level. That's why last week and this week we see the candle wicks over there. So the question is it going to wiggle a bit and then eventually comes to test the top? Hopefully it gets to a level, hopefully it doesn't end at this level, at the blue line. I hope it can go higher, but it all depends on the market demand. And there were two buying climaxes before this. One was back in 2024 March. That was the purple line level at $14.20. That's the first high that it can test. The second high was at around $18.70. That was set in December last year. Looking at these volume levels, it looks like there's quite a bit of momentum, and this selling we're having this week, the volume is low, so it's still kinds of positive as of this moment. If we look at the daily, yesterday the volume bar was very high. However, the candlestick doesn't have a very long body, so that means people are changing hands. So some people are actively buying while some people are actively selling. That's why the price doesn't get too low. So that's a positive sign, adding up with today's thing here at a much lower volume. So last week we put in two question marks because we have seen the buying climax. We conducted the session same day first, Wednesday. So we asked, it should be heading towards an automatic reaction. And indeed, yes, there was a bit of retracement down to the level of $9.70 roughly. And then eventually, is it going to have a second test? Yes, indeed it has. So just on Sunday, it reached the second test level. So that's what happened exactly. Then we asked, okay, what's next then? It happened so quickly that the sign of weakness has already appeared today. So how far would it go? Would it just stay at this level around the automatic reaction, or is it going to test the green support line level? We don't know yet, but looking at the volume, today isn't too crazy, and yesterday we've got quite a bit of support, so I don't think it's likely to get to the green. It's less likely now looking at the volume. I'll just put the tag here, and there may be another second test. One thing to note is this upward trend has been broken. So yesterday and today, both days are still below this upward trend line. So if it ever has to come towards this second test, or maybe even an up thrust. I'll come back to this in a minute. Then it has to develop a new upward trend. So why do I see up thrust? Looking at the weekly chart, if this one doesn't happen for very long, I mean this kind of struggle, horizontal trading, then next move would be towards the buying climax. If that happens, in the daily chart, that means it's heading towards an up thrust. That's why I say, okay, potentially it may be an up thrust rather than just a second test. The scenario where it becomes a second test instead of an up thrust is the horizontal trading continues. This can happen for PSY. Sometimes it can go really long for weeks before it gets to buying climax. So those are the two different scenarios for the daily, or how the weekly can affect what's being exhibited in the daily. So while we are waiting for the sign of weakness point or level to be confirmed, we're also hoping for the next second test or even an up thrust to appear. So that depends on this to rebound and show us the buying climax. Hope for the best. That's for Uniswap. See you.